Hello, my crafty friends. It's Michelle, the Southern Shell, and let's create a mixed media page and let the dice decide what we're going to do. This is where we roll the dice, and the dice tells us what we need to use to create our art page. This is brought to us by Mixed Media Art Journal, and that is Latosha. I will leave her channel in my description box below, and I will link her video in my first comment. You can join us. You can find a copy of the Roll and Create dice game. Link to that will be in my description box below. Let's see what I created today.
All right, let's get to rolling. My dice. Here, I don't know why. All right, sounded like a better roll. And I'll get my ruler here. And let's get to marking these down. Here is our list. If you want to take a screenshot of that. Dice 1, we got a 4, so we're using stencils today. Dice number 2 is a 1, which is a character. Dice number 3 is a 4, which is stamps. Dice number 4 is a 5, which is finger paint. Dice number 5 is a 2, which is lace. And dice number 6 is a 3, which is borders. All right, let me gather my supplies and we will get started. Okay, I grabbed one of my one of my stamp books, and I'm going to use this one here. And gosh, does it have? I think this is either one. I don't remember which one this is. This could be. Goodness, I don't remember. It's been a long time. I had a Tonic subscription for a while, and I had a scrapbook.com subscription for a while, so it could have been one of their monthly kits. I also pulled out this stencil, and it looks like coral to me, so I'll hang the rest of my stencils back up. I got out some ink here, some blue tones in my Distressed Oxide. I have Tumbled Glass, Mermaid Lagoon, and Distressed Salty Ocean. So I've got that. And I have some of this Country Maple Crafter's Acrylic. This is a very old bottle for my finger painting. And then I have a bunch of my jars of excess laces that are just remnants cut off of other projects that I've had. And we are going to get started here building our project. I got one more ink out, Stormy Sky. So I have several shades of blue here. I have my blue ink blender, and I'm just going to lay down some color first with my inks.
So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with the sky, and I'm going to use the Stormy Sky. I'm going to put paper behind it so I'm not getting any of the ink on the sheets below. I'm just going to outline where I want the sky horizon to be. I'm going to leave some of that space in the center to make it look like it has some clouds up there in that stormy sky. The next thing I'm going to do is take the 3 original colors I pulled out, which I think one of them was Mermaid Lagoon, Salty Ocean, and I think Broken China. The lighter one I'm putting kind of down at the bottom and towards the center so that I can come back in with the darker blues with a stencil, since that's one of the things I need to use in my project today. So that's all I'm doing here is just layering and ink blending to create the base for this particular scene. And so now I have that stencil that I had, and it looks very much like coral, and I'm supposed to finger paint. I hate finger painting. I get messy anyway, but I don't like getting messy intentionally. So this is very hard for me, but I do it. And so I'm going to come in first, and I poured some of that chestnut brown onto my little tray. And now I'm going to come in with a little bit of the ink on that stencil, giving some of the darker blue over the light. And then around the edge, I'm going to use my finger to finger paint in on the coral to give a little outline to the bottom of the ocean scene here. Now, before I put the ink on, some more of the ink splotches on there, I am going to come in and make sure I wipe all that paint off with a baby wipe. And I just try to keep my stencils clean as I'm going through this. I'm going to come in with a couple of the different blues and just add some of that coral to the background of my little scene here. And that's going to just give us some dimension and some depth into what we're doing. Now I want to use that mermaid stamp, but I want her to be at the top of my scene here. And so I'm going to finger paint a log out here floating in the water. And so I'm just dabbing it, giving it some texture. And then I'm going to come back in after that's dry and draw in some lines. But first I'm going to, look here at the stamp and see just if it's going to be big enough. I got out my VersaFine ink, and that's what I'm going to use to stamp my images down here onto my page. And I'm looking there, I'm like, the log needs to be a bit bigger for her to actually come in and lean up over it. So I'm going to stretch that out a bit more. And once I have that size I want to, make sure it's dry before I do that. I'm going to come in and use a gel pen in a dark brown. And I'm just going to come in here and outline and give some dimension to our little log here in the ocean scene. VersaFine is a great ink to use if you're doing letters or fine detail. And since there is so much fine detail on these stamps with the lines and the little scales on the tail and so forth, this really works out well. Now I'm just cleaning off that stamp there because it had been a little dusty. And now I'm just going to come in with my VersaFine and I'm just going to tap, tap, tap over the top of that. And you can see all that detail now in that stamp that's coming out. If you use different inks, it can really smudge or blend. And stamps that aren't quality made, when you press it down, it will actually press that silicone that you have there and make blurred lines. So I really, quality stamps and a quality ink when you're doing this really makes all the difference. Now remember, if I can find items that I've used here, I will link it in my description box below. And usually there will be a link there and that will be an affiliate where I do actually earn a small commission with no extra charge to you. It really does help my channel because I don't work outside the home, and any little bit extra coming in does help me out. Now I am going to come in. I found some of the bubbles that were on that stamp, and I'm just going to come in with some of the different colors that I've already used on here with my distressed oxide inks, and I'm just going to plop some bubbles down. I even came back in with that sky. That's, oh my goodness, I want to say smoky sky, but that wasn't it. Anyway, that one there, the one I used in the sky, stormy sky, there we go. And it just gave you just your different colors, and it gave dimension to those bubbles in your water scene. I try really hard to get my stamps cleaned up right afterwards and placed right back onto their plastic sheet. Otherwise, I lose them, especially those little bubbles. They will be so easy to lose if you don't put them back right away. So I place my stamps in a position on my page, and then I use my stamping press here to actually lift it up and then ink and press it back down. So there I have two more down in the corner there. I can see there's the conch shell and a smaller starfish. I just press it down onto that ink block and ink it up and press it right on down. This particular stamp block works great if you have a flat surface. It's a little different working in a book like this, but those little feet actually press down. So you can put your stamp down, some of these smaller silicone stamps, and it can sit over your page without putting ink on there until you actually press on it. It's great.
So I grabbed some laces out of my jar. I think this is beautiful, and the little pearls and stuff. I might make that a little border along the edge, since I have to do borders as well. But I also have the little blue ones here. I have some white if I need it. But I'm going to come in and just color my images right now. I'm going to come in with some of my alcohol markers. So I have my tri-blends. This one is the oranges. I have all kinds of my tri-blends. So, and those have 3 in them each of the light, medium, and dark colors. This is how I have my tri-blends set up in front of me. I just have some little marker trays and my tri-blends there, since that's the ones that have the most options in that space. First thing is I'm going to give her some red hair, and then I'll tone it down. So the first thing you want to do is I'm going to start with the orange, and I'm going to come in with the reds over it. I'm going to try to make it look like it's going behind the log. We will see, since that ink is there. I don't know how well I can cover up over that, but we'll see here. Maybe I can come in with my, nope. Nope, that won't cover it up too much. Can I come in with a little bit more finger paint on that and lighten it? Yeah, that'll lighten it some. Yep, I can do that. And we'll just, that way it'll look like her hair is actually behind the log and she's leaning up over it. That's my theory. Alrighty. I'm going to start with my little Sharpie colors here and just being very careful around those outlines because I don't want it to actually take my lines away.
Now, the alcohol ink did not cover well over where the other inks were already. So I'm coming in just with a white marker and I'm covering up where the dark color of the log was because I stamped over the log. Now, I could have done some masking on here and just created a mask to put that down and then do the log and remove the mask, but that's okay. That's for another video. I can show all that type of stuff I have before. But I just came in now with that same Sharpie, but this one in red, and I'm using dots to go around it all. And now I'm just coming in with my alcohol markers here, and this is the light pink. I'm going to do her in just some shades of some light pinks and corals. Once I get her skin tone done, I will come back in and work on her. Did I do her tail next? Yes, I think I did. Yep, I did her fin, and I'm doing this with some blues, and then I'm going to come in with some teals, and I'm going to just alternate some of the stripes on there. I did take my time doing this because alcohol inks do bleed, and so you want to make sure that where you're hitting, you're going to start with your light colors, and then I usually go dark over that, and then I come back in and blend. You can blend with alcohol. There's an alcohol blender. You can blend with lighter colors. And that's actually what I'm going to do here with this little mermaid is I came in with the light color and then I came in with the dark end. And then I'm going to come back in with a light color again. And I'm going to go over the whole thing. And that helps blend out those colors along this mermaid. I do love these Spectrum Noir tri-blends. I will leave a link, an Amazon link to where I have gotten mine. The 2 different colors there of the markers themselves, the black ones are the bullet tips, and those light gray ones are like the brush tips. So depending on what you like to use, they do have them available in both styles. I just came in with my lightest coral now and covered over the red and orange dots of my Sharpie marker, creating a lovely little blend of red hair for my mermaid. Now I'm going to come in with some more of those corals. I came in with a very light tone to start to shape my little seahorse here. And I'm going to come in with some multiple colors. Seahorses come just all sorts of ways. So I'm just making just a fun, colorful little seahorse here. Absolutely no rhyme or reason. I did use that same coral to color the conch shells and my little starfish at the bottom, coming in with some blue and some teals and turquoise to fill in my little seahorse. And then I also come in with a little bit of purple towards the end just to give some more highlights. And then I blend it all up with one of my lighter colors of the coral that I started with. This will give you a little closer look here on how I do that. And I come in and just do some highlights on those edges. And then I will come in and add a little bit more. There's that light color I started with. I'm going to use that to blend this out all over my seahorse. And you can see those colors now blending together, creating a beautiful little creature.
Okay, let's finish this up a little bit here. I'm going to use this old lace. This looks like it was off of a slip or something. It still has some little stitches on here where it was attached, like right here. So I'm not sure what it is off of. My stash, several pieces have been given to me. Goodwill finds, all kinds of stuff. So I'm not sure where a lot of this comes from. But I'm going to use some Fabri-Tac along the top here. We're just going to lay some along the top of that book page right there, and we're going to border this out with this lace. And I'll lay that down in there and right across the top. And let's lay it along the edge here. Just going to fold it, lay it on that edge, and then once again on the bottom. And lay that right on in that Beacon's 3-in-1. Okay, let me trim that off. And then the last piece I'm going to do is I am going to use this little pearl strip to finish this off on this edge right here. And so let's get that glue right on up there. This is a heavier lace. I did turn on my hot glue gun just in case I needed something to tack it down while it waits to dry. And lay it right on top. To fill out that edge right there. All right, let me get my lid back on here. I am milking the end of this bottle, I tell you what. Still getting it out. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this one off. Now let's add just a few more little birds in our sky. So I think what I'm going to do here is, I have a black gel pen, and we're just going to do some lovely birds flying off in the distance. In our stormy sky. That's it. I really wanted something maybe out on the horizon here, so I brought in, let's see, this one is our light green blend, and this is yellow green blend. And I am just going to we're going to start with our lightest green here, and I am just going to do some blobs just out here. And I'll add just a bit more. Come in with our lighter yellowy green. And with alcohol markers, you gotta trust the process. Come in with some of that dark. I'm going to come right back to that very light one and blend. It's a little dry. Okay, so if it's a little dry, you're all right. I have some alcohol swabs here. Just be careful because alcohol will move around your alcohol inks. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that. And we are going to dot. Now I can come back in with that real light one and move it around. Now what I will do is I will come in off the coastline here, and we're just going to put just a small little triangle. This vintage blue, and I'm going to come in with a little bit of my red blend brown, and this is the lightest color. At the bottom of that boat down there. Then I have some earth brown, and I'm going to come with the lightest earth brown. I'm going to come right along the edge of that island. I can come back in and just dab that out. And I think that just gives it a little more balance. Looks like we have got something. Okay, I'm just having a hard time finishing this one. So I'm going to take out some little gems here. And I flip over and get some different colors in here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of something extra to this page. I'm just not, you know, sometimes you just know when you're done, and other times you're like, this ain't done. What about a treasure chest? Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay. I think that we could do that. I just cut off a little corner like so. Let's get some frayed burlap here. And we're just going to make this look like it's been down there a little while. Okay. All right, I'm not going to glue that totally down yet. I have my little picker-upper. I have some art glitter glue. I have some little gold sequins. So I think I'll pour a little bit out there. Golly. here, I'm just going to lift it up just a little bit. I'm going to put some of these bigger pieces under there. Rubies and sapphires and then we'll just put a few, like they scattered all over down here. Okay, let's just take those big ones off. I think that looks better. Better. Okay. A little more dimension, a little more depth. A little more down here. Okay, I'm going to kind of leave those. Put a little bit up and around here. These don't need to be put down in specific areas now, since I'm just wanting it to look like it's falling. So let's just press it. I'm going to press it in there. Let that art glitter glue dry. And then I'll just dump off the excess. All right. Let me let that dry and see how I like that. I thought about putting some, I don't think I have small enough ones. I thought about making her little tail out of these sequins, but whew, that'd be a lot. All right, I'm going to get these off of here, and we will see what this is looking like once we're done. I might put a few of the clearer looking ones to look like bubbles. That might be pretty good. I might do that. So we can put a couple in these big old bubbles here. Now I think I'm done. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's better. It has a little more substance for me, having those jewels and the gold down at the bottom. The island, and of course thought about putting some little gems in her hair, but all of them are a little big, so I know I've got some tiny ones somewhere, but I still think they'd be too big for her hair. Maybe some little nail gems would work. Guys, let me know what you think about this. I think it turned out better as I kept adding to it, because that's just me. I craft by the seat of my pants, and when it's done, it's done. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now I'm like, oh, I could put like some sand and make some waves. No, step away. Step away. Thank you guys. Your time's precious. I know it. Thank you for spending some of it with me today. If you like this, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. If you can, hype it. It really does help me. Helps my channel out. Remember, any items that I've used, you can find in my description box below if I can find them. And check out Latosha on her channel. Her channel will be linked in my description, and I will tag her video in my first comment. As always, stay safe. God bless. Bye for now.